Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Kop Four, where four Liverpool fans try to make a reasonable explanation of what has gone on this season. But the Kop Four, we had our first win of our live stream days against Fulham over the weekend. And yeah, luckily it was a good performance. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I think there was obviously some positives there. Rio, Salah, obviously a clean sheet as well was something that we were struggling to get the last few games. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking a little bit about Robbo. He didn't get offered a new contract. What do we think about that? Kanate as well. He is not as close as people do believe. And also PSG, one of the biggest games of the season, the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Can Liverpool overturn a 2-0 deficit and go through? A lot of talking points tonight. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as we try to make this one of the biggest Liverpool channels, one of the biggest Liverpool communities out there. Well, lads, how are we? How are we doing?
Oh, good.
Feeling good, mate.
Finally got a win.
Finally.
Finally. There's a bit of luck, lads. Brian and Max were at the game, so a bit of luck we needed.
Maybe we should go to every game.
I'd love to, mate.
We'll try to get in contact with Liverpool, see if they can score us out. The Kop Four.
Make it happen.
The Kop Four box. But yeah, I suppose that's probably the best place to start with. Yeah, listen, we came back from the international break. We lost to Brighton before the international break. We come back, we lose to obviously Man City in the Cup and then PSG. Two very difficult games, to be fair, away at Man City and away at PSG. Probably two of the toughest teams to go to at the minute, both playing really well. But the performances probably weren't there. And I think the Fulham game, yes, it was lesser opposition, but probably back to a little bit about where we want to be going forward and some really positives to take, I think. So, Max, I'll come to you first because you were obviously at the game. How were you feeling going into it? And then what were your kind of positives, I would say, from the start?
Going into it, I was quite confident we would win, but it basically played out how I'd expect, to be honest. Like being in the ground after the game, in my match reaction, I was pretty happy, and I think you could tell that. But you know, in the days following, I think it was clear the second half we did drop off a lot. When you're in the game, you kind of get involved emotionally. Obviously, the reception Brian would have seen with Salah and Robertson, it felt so good to be in the ground. But once you step away from it and actually, you know, take that second half in isolation, a bit worrying, but the first half was good. I thought we played some really good stuff. The atmosphere around the ground was a bit subdued, but yeah, I think we can take major positives going into PSG. If we can play like we did in that first half, then who knows? That the attack did look much better with obviously Salah and Rio starring. So overall, we got the 3 points, conceded quite a lot of chances in the second half, but 3 points at this stage is massive, especially with Chelsea obviously losing yesterday as well.
Yeah, 100%. Brian, Salah obviously got his goal. How happy were you with the result at the weekend?
Absolutely over the moon, Jamie, obviously. You know, Salah I thought I think everybody in this stream is going to agree. Salah was actually incredible, like throughout the whole game. But aside from that, the most important thing was the result. I thought we played well. I'll agree with Max on that. I thought second half we dropped off a little bit, which is something that we seem to do quite a lot this season. We take our foot off the gas and Fulham kind of had more of the ball, but it never really looked like they were ever going to get anything from it. I think they had one chance near the last 10 minutes, but overall I was just over the moon. And yeah, like Max said, the reception just for Robbo and Salah, it was a bit emotional, you know, like I think it really is one of those things where we know it's happening. I think we all felt it was going to happen, but to actually see it live in person and know this is it, like it sounds silly, and maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but that could be Salah's last goal at Anfield. Like he only has 3 games left at Anfield, you know, and that could be Robbo's last start. I think I was saying this to you, Liam, but you know, how many more games is Robbo going to start for Liverpool in the Premier League? Because we have such, you know, a tight top 4 race, or top 5 race. So yeah, just really emotional, to be honest, but just a fantastic win overall.
No, yeah, 100%. We're going to come on to, I think, some of the performances, because there were some obviously bright sparks in a bad spell, I would say. But Liam, how are you feeling about the game and the overall performance?
I'm feeling positive, mate. Before we get on to what I thought of the game, though, I think Brian, maybe someone owes you and Salah an apology because on the last.
Let's have it.
Jamie said, he came out and said that he doesn't think Salah was scoring an open play goal.
Let's go, Jamie. I'm all ears.
I apologise to Brian and Mohamed Salah. Salah, if you're in this live stream tonight, if you're watching the Kop Four, I apologise. Listen, as the great James Pearce said, his first goal at Anfield since November in the Premier League.
That is great, man.
To be fair, I didn't realise it was that long.
James Pearce, what a toss pop, by the way, for posting that. But
he backed me up. He backed up my statement. Listen, I think that we'll come on to Salah's performance in a minute, I think. But Liam, yeah, go on, finish point.
In terms of a result, I think it was really positive, like Max said, especially with Chelsea dropping points to City, creating that gap. And like I said, that we needed to do because we got a very tough fixture list between now and the end of the season. But in terms of a performance, I do agree with Max. I think that second half was poor. I thought we started the game well, but like we started a lot of games at Anfield well. I think that's a performance that we've probably seen quite a lot of times at Anfield this season. I think the main difference was that Fulham don't take their chances. We score first and then we don't concede from a set piece. I think we've been very good at that this year. That's probably the main difference between the start of the season and now. Like I look at the Forest game, for example, where we lost 3-0 at Anfield. I thought that was a game where we started really promisingly, but then Forest go 1-0 up because of a set piece. And then we just, we've seen so many times this season, once we concede a goal, we just lose our head. So it was important to get that first goal. 2 great goals as well, individual bit of quality from Ngumoha and Salah. Good performance, mate. Not good, good result. I like the first half, bit worse in the second half.
Yeah, I think with the way they are right now, I think the confidence is definitely a little bit lower than what it should be for the quality of players that are there. So I think at the end of the day, it was just about getting the result. And I think I'm going to come on to some of the performances now. And Rio is obviously going to get a lot of the plaudits because of the age. He's coming in. He hasn't started loads of games. I think he even said in his post-match that he's had to kind of bide his time since the Newcastle game. And some people say Slot should have played him more. I think he's managed him pretty well because if you just throw someone in consistently, it can damage them, especially with the performances from the team where they're not winning games a lot. But he's just such a bright spark. But I won't start with Rio. I'll start with Salah because since the Kop Four has started, he has got a lot of criticism. I have given him a lot of criticism. I was stuck by my word, but he deserves praise for that performance. I think in terms of the overall performance, he got on the ball an awful lot. I think they showed a stat after 20 minutes where he had 31 touches, the third most in the game, which is pretty rare for forwards. A lot of the time nowadays, the centre backs or the keepers or the right backs, whatever it is. And he was heavily involved. He was influenced the game. I still do think going the other way, Robertson was causing us a few issues on that side. I think Van Dijk was given out to Salah for not tracking at one point in the 6th or 10th minute it was. So I think that's something that teams will try and expose if he plays. But if he delivers, which he did against Fulham, which we haven't seen this season, then he does deserve to be in the team. I've always said that. But in terms of Salah's performance overall, whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
Oh, you might as well just have called on me. Salah's performance. Wow. That was a vintage Mo Salah performance, I think, in terms of what we've seen last season so many times where, maybe he isn't as defensively solid as we've needed a right-sided player to be, but he gets the goal, should have an assist, has a big hand, obviously, in just how we're playing overall. That ball he plays to Gakpo in the second half, I think, Max, I could hear you creaming all the way from the Kop. I thought it was absolutely incredible.
Whoa, calm down.
Just got demonetized.
But look, I just thought he was really good. He constantly looking to get on the ball. And like you said, Jamie, the most touches or third most touches in the game at one point, which is quite rare for a forward to have. And to build on that, really good. I'm just happy, man. it feels good. I don't think anyone can sit there and say they don't feel good when you see a legend like Salah score and you can tell how much it means to him. And wow, what a player.
I think we've seen him play like that very rarely this season, but it was kind of like a game Salah would have last season where he's involved in the play so much more. We're shifting the ball out to him and he's actually got runners. He's not isolated. I think I've said it all season long. He plays better when Frimpong is there, because Frimpong can actually take up the half spaces and make those kind of underlaps, and he can use those runs. And some of the flicks, the Trivellas were back. I think after his goal, his confidence returned a lot. And by the way, the finish, people. This is the thing about Salah. The finish is like so good that people just expect that of Salah. It's like that. That's actually a very, very good finish. We've just seen it so often for Liverpool. But yeah, he was great. He was the best player for me. Probably, just in front of Rio.
Yeah, and like you say, Jamie, that trade-off hasn't been worth it most of the season, has it? When he doesn't do his defensive work and he's not scoring, the trade-off just isn't worth it. But I can take Robinson getting a couple chances down that way if Salah is having a good game like that, contributing in so many ways. Like Brian said, not only the goal, which he took excellently, which we haven't seen enough this season, but just being overall involved in every single part of the play. I do agree with Max. I think Frimpong helps him massively.
Yeah. No, 100%. There's a stat in here I'm going to do now. But if you're new to the channel, make sure to drop a like. We have a few people coming in. Subscribe. Likes really help out the channel. We want to grow this as much as possible. So make sure to drop a like on the channel. But we're doing a few chats now. Just not going on Liam's point there. I seen a stat earlier. It was Salah and Frimpong have started 8 games together down the right. And those 8 games, Salah has 9 GA. I didn't double check it, but that really is a stat if it's crazy.
It is true. It is. I made a video just on this that's just gone up there, but no, that is true. Just in every game is 9 GA.
Good that.
Yeah, very good. I think with Frimpong as well, he does add. It's similar to Bradley when he's there. When Szoboszlai is there, he's someone that is expected to drop into midfield. He's not getting up around Salah, helping create space. Whereas Frimpong is just like he just wants to get up, overlap, and you could see like there was a lot of that connection. Like Wirtz is coming over to that side as well. You see Frimpong getting in behind. There were some lovely touches. So it does help an awful lot. It's just pace. You know what I mean? It's like pace in the team makes such a difference. It's something we just haven't had this season with the likes of like Nunez gone, Diaz, his directness has obviously disappeared as well. So it's just nice. It's just nice to see. But yeah, going to the other side, Rio Ngumoha. He was unbelievable. Talking about pace on with Frimpong. I think Rio is just he's just electric. Like you kind of obviously a lot of talk about like Dowman in the team or in the Premier League, and maybe some other players that you're thinking about that are up and coming. But like Rio just like looks like he has it all, and I think the only thing stopping him is like his age at the minute. You know what I mean? I'd say next season he's going to explode. But you are obviously at the game, lads. What were you kind of expecting with him in the lineup? Like, were you expecting him to be that good? Did you notice things, obviously watching him live, that maybe you don't really see on the TV?
I mean, he's got that ability, but I mean, every time he picked up the ball, the excitement in the crowd, I'm sure you felt it, Brian. It's just like, it was like he was like, 25-year-old senior player, get the ball out to him. And it's funny, just before his goal, there were so many people around me, like, no one's in the box. No one was really expecting him to do that. And because he cuts inside, I think, initially, then goes back out, then cuts in again, and the finish is magnificent. But he's just such an exciting prospect, man. I love how he takes on responsibility even more than someone like a Florian Wirtz. To do that at 17 is pretty special, to be honest.
He is just that player that we've lacked massively this season, which is funny to say because he's always been fit and available. But obviously, like you said, Jamie, his age really held him back this year. But just such a good outlet. I was at the Spurs game a couple of weeks ago, and that was the only positive I had from the game. Is it just felt like he was always trying to impact the game. So when I seen him in the starting 11, I think everybody around me was just like, yeah, this is it. Like this is good. I think he reminds me so much of Luis Diaz in terms of his willingness to just drive out of the fence and try and make something happen from nothing. Again, you don't really even expect him to take his goal like that. But again, very reminiscent. I made a video on this of Sadio Mane against Arsenal a couple of years ago. Just the way he's curled that into the bottom corner. And yeah, just what a player. I think he has that exciting flair that we've lacked. And if we had a bit more of that this season, and I was actually going to say on the Frimpong point, but kind of ties into this, if maybe you had a Rio starting a good bit more, and again, I'm not against Slot and how he's managed his minutes, but maybe if he did start a couple of more games, or we had a winger that was a bit more direct, or having Frimpong fit and available, maybe Salah's season is completely different. It's just, there's so many little hypotheticals this season that really have changed the whole complexion of the season, unfortunately.
That's a good point.
I'd compare that goal not even to. I saw your video about comparing it to Mane. I think the finish is very Mane-like, but I think the way he shifts the ball to create the space for himself, which is something that he does so well, it's very Coutinho-like. You know how he comes inside, fakes the shot, shifts, and then goes back on the right. I really liked it. I think having that 1v1 ability out wide as well. It's not just pace. Frimpong has pace and 1v1 ability. That's definitely a big thing. Not just the pace in the squad, the 1v1 ability out wide, the threats to stretch the opposition. You know what I mean? It makes space for every other player. Having Rio on that side rather than Gakpo. Most teams are probably singling up on Gakpo, tripling up on Salah on the other side. But we've got Rio Ngumoha on that side now, so you've got to think about him, and then you've got to think about Salah on the other side. You've got to think about Frimpong in the overlap. There's a lot more to the team with Ngumoha in the team, I think.
Yeah, I think we had. Well, I had such a good view of the game tactically, and you could see how slot style of play. I know loads of people have said this is based on shifting the ball from one side to the other and getting wingers 1v1. You could see that clearly. We done it quite well in that first half, to be honest. And I know, Jamie, you said that you would have started Rio in the first leg in Paris. The thing I want to know is, do we start him tomorrow? I would.
Yeah, I seen your lineup on TikTok. Yeah, I think this is going to be the big question now. He's managed his minutes for the season, but I think you now don't need to manage his minutes anymore. He's not going to be going to any international tournaments. We're effectively going to have one game a week unless we get through against PSG, which is a big ask. So play him every game from now until the end of the season. Play him 6 games. It's not going to destroy his legs. He's not going to be killed in that instance. You know what I mean? But he'll get to understand the demands of the Premier League a little bit more and what it's like to play consistently. But I think that will only help him next year. But I think tomorrow's going to be I think we were chatting about it in the group chat. We have Rio, Gakpo, Ekitike, Isak, Salah. Those 5, as in who do you start with, and whoever you don't start with, you have some options on the bench, which is really good. But I think who he starts with will dictate the game, because we need a quick start. If we don't get a quick start and you're bringing on Rio and Ngumoha, say it's 2-0 or I don't know, let's just say it's 2-0 going into the 70th minute, you're asking them to do a lot when PSG are just sitting in. Whereas if you start them, get the crowd up, get the energy up from the get-go, then that will have a big impact on how the actual game plays out. So, yes, it's going to be interesting to start lineup tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about PSG as well. But Dave says it there. Rio, Isak, Salah has to be the front three. That will probably be the big ask for a lot of people. But what, in terms of, we'll talk a little bit, I think, about the starting lineups as well. But do you think that performance is enough to get over the line against PSG?
I think it's enough to give us confidence. If we'd have lost or drew to Fulham there, off the back of, you say, Brighton loss, PSG loss in the first leg, City loss, if we would have dropped points to Fulham, nobody would be confident going into this game. But I think it has lifted the fans, and hopefully the players has put a little bit of belief in them as well, that we can get results at Anfield. I'm not sure. I don't think the performance was too good. Like I said, I don't think it's going to translate to a unbelievable performance against PSG. I don't think we'll see too much of a similar lineup either. I'm not sure Rio should start.
I think some players were holding back a bit as well in terms of saving some. Well, he made some subs, didn't he? He took off
Ekitike gets a full rest. It will be a bit of a different lineup. I think a massive thing is that PSG obviously had a full rest as well, so it was really important that we had to rest players too. In terms of I think there's a lot of other positive performances from the Fulham game though, individually. I think Szoboszlai had a really good game in centre mid. I don't know what you boys thought about that, but I thought he added a lot of intensity into that midfield too. I think when Jones came off, Jones was adding intensity into the midfield too as well. When Jones came off, Gravenberch came on, and then McAllister comes on. I think we did get worse progressively as the game went on. I don't know if that links to them coming on, or we have got worse in a lot of games this season anyway. But I thought Szoboszlai was good playing in that centre mid role. I think it's probably his best position and his long-term position.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Liam, to be honest, because you can even see the protection that Van Dijk has. And, I think we kind of made the point last week about how good Van Dijk is, and he got a lot of scrutiny over the past couple of weeks, but I thought he was immense against Fulham. And now, again, it is Fulham, and they're not like this super amazing attacking team in the league, but I thought early Van Dijk was so good. He just looked back to his imperious best, and it just links in with Szoboszlai in that sort of centre mid role more than that attacking role. He has the legs to get back. He has the legs to get forward. He allows other players to be able to transition into more central areas as well and be able to cover out wide. So, yeah, I thought Szoboszlai brilliant. Van Dijk, another one to definitely mention.
Yeah,
is Curtis Jones injured? I seen you do a video on that, man.
He's fit.
Yeah, I think
he's
he's
trained
today.
Slot him, no one asked him. I can't believe there was about 10 questions in Slot's press conference. No one asked him about injury issues or anything. But Jones did train today.
What's Giovanni Van Bronckhorst doing in this way?
What does he actually do?
What is he doing?
But Curtis Jones was good for me. And the midfield, I did want to talk about that. So I'm glad it's been brought up. In the first half, I do think there was a couple of moments where they played through us a bit too easily and they got in behind our midfield. And yeah, certain groans around the stadium, because we've been seeing that all season long. But the difference is Jones and Szoboszlai can actually recover. Yeah. Whereas when it's Gravenberch and McAllister, they ain't recovering. Might be a bit too much for Jones to start tomorrow, but if he can start, I'd start him with Szoboszlai, and then I'd have Wirtz in the 10 as well. That would be my midfield.
You wouldn't put Gravenberch in on the bench?
No.
No,
Yeah,
really?
You're not feeling Gravenberch at the minute, Max.
I'm not, and I'm actually I've been one of his biggest fans, especially since the start of last season. But I really think he's lacking a lot of confidence, and positionally, I don't think he fancies playing that 6 anymore.
Yeah, I've been wanting to give him. Go on, Jamie.
No, I was just going to say, do you remember? I remember at the end of last season when he was kind of starting to tire out, and people were like, "This is why you need to replace him." But then we didn't get a replacement, and then we just expect him to play a full season, exactly the same again. Do you know what I mean? And if you remember, the season before, he didn't play half as many games as he did last season. Last season was probably his first proper season in a Liverpool shirt. You could probably say his first proper season at a big club. He played a little bit at Ajax, then he moved to Bayern Munich, was in and out of the team, comes to Liverpool, in and out of the team. So last season was probably his first full season, and now he's just expected to carry on. You need to rotate these players, you know what I mean? Especially when they're young. Gravenberch I think he was 22 last year, I think 23 this year. So it's like what we're talking about with Rio. They need to be taken in and out of the team just to give them a little bit of fresh, give them a little bit of competition as well is important. But I definitely agree. His confidence is low, and I think maybe he's just been used too much.
Yeah, I think people do forget how young he is, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's been around a long time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Since 18, he was playing in the Champions League for Ajax against us. In 2020.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to give him a lot. I've been wanting to give him a lot of stick this season, to be fair. Mostly down to Slot's poor, the flaws in the system. I think expose him a lot. But no, I do think in the big games, that is when he performs on the ball. Against teams that press as high, I imagine PSG aren't going to sit in a low block. I know they're 2-0 up, but they're probably still going to press as high. So I think, his ability to turn out of pressure is going to be needed. I'd probably put Szoboszlai and Gravenberch in there, definitely. You could definitely argue that you'd put a couple more midfielders in there as well. I think we should have packed the midfield in the away leg. I hope we do it tomorrow, but
we'll I think the big one for me is, I know a lot of people are debating that midfield, but I think other than Gravenberch probably picks itself. It's obviously Wirtz. It's Szoboszlai they both have to play. I thought both amazing. Yeah. But the one I'd like to ask you, Jamie, is do you think Alexander Isak will start up top against PSG? Because there's going to be a lot of question marks. And I think it is fairly obvious Ekitike is definitely going to play. He's probably going to start, but I think it would be a massive mistake after seeing the little cameos from Isak to not at least have him on the pitch for a good amount of time tomorrow against PSG.
Well, I didn't want to bring it up yet because my Salah agenda that gets thrown at me will be critiqued even more when I do give you my team a little bit later on.
Here we go.
But listen, I do start Isak, but I also start Ekitike. That's all I'll say. Okay.
Okay. 4-4-2.
Yeah, no, not 4-4-2, but yeah, I'm going heavy on both of them because I think we need that impetus, that excitement, that flair, and I think we get that with both of them on the pitch. I think Isak's cameos have been good, but putting him in a team where he's kind of very fresh with fresh players, I think that will have a big impact. And I think this game against PSG, I do want to talk about one more player about the Fulham game before we go on to it, but this game against PSG is going to be all about risk. How do we actually manage risk? And how do we manage it in a way that gives us an opportunity without obviously exposing ourselves as well? And I think Isak, if he gets one opportunity against PSG, then I think he's probably the most likely candidate to take it. So that's why I probably would start him. But before we go into PSG, I do want to talk about Andy Robertson because obviously it was a big week for him last week. He came out, he said that he was going to be leaving. It was a very emotional. I think we had it just 20 minutes before we had our stream, so we were all kind of getting our feelings out. Brian, I know you were very emotional, but how he was feeling, like his performance. I thought it was just like at the standard Andy Robertson performance, like just like an 8 out of 10. He helped Rio out a lot. You could see him. Rio was talking about it after the game as well. The support that he gives them, telling them to go at certain times, telling them to come back. Like it's just, I know obviously he's not the same Andy Robertson from 2019, but like he's just still so valuable. I still see so much value every time he plays. And yeah, I just thought he was a really good performance considering he hasn't played much football this season. But what were your kind of feelings, the emotion in the ground? I know you said a little bit about that as well. How were you feeling about his performance?
Yeah, I thought he was... Yeah, sorry, Brian. I thought he was good.
No, you go there.
I thought he was good. And that's what you're going to miss with Robertson, just like the guarantee of you know what you're going to get. What I love about him as well is his like movement off the ball when he's supporting like his left winger. He's so underrated at that. Makes the right runs, even if he knows he's not going to get it because it can drag players away and leave Rio 1v1. Yeah, it was emotional in the ground as well, seeing his chant go about so much, and it's probably, it might be one that we regret not offering him a new contract depending on who we get in next season. But yeah, I don't know what you thought about it, Brian.
I'll build on what Jamie said massively. I do really think it is a mistake to let him go. I made a video on this that it similar to Mo Salah. I think that was a vintage Andy Robertson performance, but I think Robertson, out of the two players, is probably the one that has a lot more years to play in this team. And again, I think we touched on it last week, but it really should have been a gradual sort of transition from Robertson to Kirkes. And yeah, it doesn't feel right that he's going, and it feels even worse that it could be to Spurs if they stay up, which they won't, so that should be fine. But it does feel worse thinking that he could be in the Premier League next year, and I think he probably starts for a Premier League team, and I still think he's good enough to play 10, 15 games in the Premier League for us. So
I think that probably tells you that he would have stayed at the club, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, he was desperate to stay, wasn't he? Like I mean, that was one of the things in my video. He said in January that he wants a new contract. He wants to stay. The only, mitigating factor out of it was the play time. But he also said in the summer he wanted to stay, and he said it again in September after the Southampton game. He really wants to stay. He would finish his career at Liverpool if he could. His whole footballing career, and I think that says everything you need to know about how the club have handled this more than him.
I think playtime is the biggest issue with it, isn't it? Which is why I don't really understand why he's being linked with Spurs. I feel like Spurs have Spence, like if they stay up, they've got Spence, a doggy. Like surely he's going to go there and just rotate with them as well. They're not going to be playing European football. It's just going to be cup competitions and Championship or whichever one it is. I don't understand what, he's been linked with. He was linked with Atletico at the start of the season, wasn't he? If you're going to sit on the bench,
they had a bid, I think, didn't they? Put in like 5 million or something.
They put in a bid in the summer. If you're going to go and sit on the bench anyway, just go and do it in Spain. I'm sure Jamie will tell you it's a lovely place.
I feel like he would have suited Atletico as well.
That's what I mean. Or even just go to Napoli. There's already Billy Gilmore and Scott McTominay there. Just go and sit on the bench in a nice
retirement league.
That's the thing. Go on, Brian.
I was surprised he's not on Celtic. I was
going to say that. I'm surprised, but it probably shows he's not finished in his head again. It's going to be a thing of I have to play in the top league and I'm going to start. And he probably fancies himself over Udogie and Spence. And they've signed that kid at left back as well. I can't even think of his name, but Sousa, yeah. So he probably fancies himself in that Spurs team if they stay up. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just is a minute thing. Kirkes is obviously better than him currently, but I think we all agree on the fact that Robertson still should have played more games this season. Especially, I think Robertson and Ngumoha have that great relationship. Like, was it Jamie? Jamie said it. I think he helps him out so much.
Yeah.
And Max was mentioning it as well with the runs that he makes. I think you can't buy that experience. I think it's going to be so difficult to replace Robertson because he always knows when to. He always seems to know when to give Ngumoha the ball, when to hold off him, when to overlap him. You know, like. Kirkes, I don't think we've seen Ngumoha and Kirkes yet, or if we have, it's not been on too many occasions, which is why I don't think.
Did Kirkes start against Spurs, or was it Robertson as well?
Robertson.
No, I think it was Robertson.
Yeah,
Robertson
was it?
started in those three consecutive man of the matches for Ngumoha.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that, you know, like I know you said there that Kirkes is probably better than Robertson. I think overall that will be true, but I think Robertson is really good in like certain games where you need to manage a game. I think Kirkes has a bit more energy, but like Max, you said it there. Robertson is so good at understanding where he needs to be in a game. So like how he impacts the game, not just by being on the ball and say even when he's actually on the ball. I think going forward, I think he is better than Kirkes as well. I think he knows how to play a pass. He knows where to put it into the box. But like some of his runs inward, I think Kirkes is a little bit more timid to do that. He doesn't want to get caught in the middle of the pitch on the ball. So that means he'll probably try and get up on the overlap. He's done that a little bit more recently, but it's something that I think he's still trying to learn from his game. And I think having Robertson in the team, playing a little bit more and seeing, right, this is what Robertson does, that would be good to learn and understand. And then they're doing it on the training pitch. They're saying, why did you make that run at that time? And then he can explain it to him and learn. Do you know what I mean? So
that's the thing with Kirkes for me. Like, he bombs forward sometimes like a bit of a headless chicken. Like, he's not thinking, okay, if I go here, then how will this impact the winger? Whereas Robertson, he's been there, done that. He's much more mature a player. And tomorrow, honestly, I would start Kirkes, but you're looking at probably getting so much energy out of Kirkes because he can output so much. Yeah. And then 60th minute or something, bring in Robertson. What a player to come on in a tie like that.
Are you disagreeing with that there, Jamie? You would obviously we'll get onto the lineup in a bit, but you don't think Kirkes should start.
My lineup's a bit out there, you know.
Yeah, mate, this is like a shoddy lineup.
I'll do my video after this. I'm going to show it up on TikTok. But yeah, my lineup's a little bit rogue, I'm going to say, because I think we've done like this kind of change of like Salah or of like Salah, Frimpong, or like which midfield. We've done all these changes and it hasn't worked for majority of the season. So I think having a little bit more risk, and if it doesn't pay off, it doesn't pay off. But like I think there is an opportunity just to experiment with a few different things, because obviously Isak is back, Rio is playing a little bit better, Robertson I think will have a point to prove. There's some things that we can do to, I think, impact the game against PSG. So yeah, I think it's up in the air at the minute, but we'll get into that now in a sec, okay? But yeah, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, folks. If you're just coming in, about 20 of us in here now, drop your comments in as well. As I said, we're trying to make this the biggest Liverpool community channel out there. So let us know your thoughts. What are you thinking? Robertson, Kirkes, Rio, Ekitike, Salah. Let me know your thoughts.
No shot.
I think there's the comment there from Mickey. I genuinely think is spot on. I actually agree with Jamie, and I'm going to break your heart here, Liam, but I would start Robertson tomorrow, but look to bring in Kirkes when there's tired legs from that PSG team. But I understand starting Kirkes, and he is going to do it, but I would go with Robertson, you know, genuinely.
I'm not Kirkes brings so much intensity into the team.
Arnie Slot could play 11 Lionel Messi's in 2013 and he'd still get the lineup wrong, according to most people. So it doesn't matter.
Kirkes adds that intensity into the team, just like Frimpong does on the other side. I think if we want any chance of winning, we need just our most intense players on the pitch. I would like to see Rio and Robertson come on like later towards the end of the game. I don't think we need to risk too much too early. I know it's only a two goal deficit.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, go fucking.
That's what I mean. I'm disagreeing. I don't think we need to risk too much too early. I think you stay in the game.
That's true.
You get a goal in the foot. You know, it's 90 minutes. It's not like we're overturning a massive.
Yeah, but
one goal in the game.
But do you not think?
At
But do you not
point,
think
you
like
lift out
get
of it
like
so much.
you need to get the energy up? Do you know what I mean? If PSG come and they like subdue us for the
That's
first
true.
30 minutes, it's hard to get like momentum then. Like people will be up for it from the start. Like I'll be singing my heart out trying to get people up for it. But like I think
But then
if
Ngumoha starts the game and then
Yeah.
has to come off 60th minute, and let's say Gakpo comes on, are you not then decreasing the energy? I think you'd rather.
yeah, but then at that point
build up throughout the
it's
game.
but yeah, but like say if I think that there will be more energy in the crowd from the start. There's and then you need to feed off the energy. So like say if we're pushing and we're pushing and we're pushing and we get a goal, because I think we're probably going to need a goal before half time. Like that's the most likely scenario. Yeah, the first goal. But like if we get the goal in the 80th minute, yes, it's going to be good. But like PSG then will be able to hit us on the counter attack a lot more because we'll have to like just go hell for leather. Whereas if we get a goal early in the first half, say, then we can kind of manage it a little bit more. We don't have to go as crazy, but the atmosphere will still be there. The energy will still be there. So like,
I think the atmosphere will be there, like regardless if Rio starts or not. You know what I mean? Because it's such a massive game. I just see it as, you know, you want to continuously like build the momentum throughout the game. I think bringing Rio off would kill the momentum a bit because I don't think Gakpo. I think if you were to start a left winger, I don't want Gakpo to start, but if you were to start a left winger in the game, I'd probably start Gakpo and then bring Rio on the last 30.
Stinker.
In terms of,
I wouldn't start Gakpo.
Okay, it's an interesting point though, isn't it? Because like obviously through injury, but in the Barcelona game, you have Robertson at left back, and then he comes off, and Wijnaldum comes on and like changed the whole game. And we managed that whole first half. That was the whole point. We'd got one goal, but it wasn't held to leather in that first half.
We needed four in that, or three in that game. You know what I mean?
The word for tomorrow is literally balance. We need to balance it out completely because you don't want to peak too early because this Liverpool team, if it goes to extra time, for example, we're done. Like if we go, you know,
I disagree.
Mate, we are the most unfit team.
We've conceded about 15 goals in the 90th minute. We would get pumped in extra time.
We couldn't run. Like we would be all over the shop. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards what Liam's saying there. Like slowly building. Like give the fans enough, but you know, make sure you're not conceding. Make sure you're not conceding the first goal as well, because that basically kills the tie completely. So you need to balance everything. This PSG team are good enough to go into half time 2-0 up, and then you're 4-0 down. There's nothing to play. So I wouldn't even be mad at 0-0 at half time, honestly.
No, it depends on when you get that first goal though. Like Jamie says, if we get it in the 80th, obviously that last 10 minutes will still be amazing, but you would like to get it in like 50th. 60th at the latest, not earliest.
I think you want to go in half time 1-0, to be honest. I think obviously everyone's got obviously I'm not
1-0, 3-0 up. That's
what I think we could really rattle that PSG team if we go 1-0 up inside 10 minutes, because it's just the same old story then. It's the European night at Anfield. I think that could really psychologically mess with a lot of those players, just going like, oh no, I'm not this. We don't this is what we don't need. Like Dembele would have felt it before, you know? And that's the polar opposite of what happened last year. If we had just scored at Anfield early on, it's a completely different game.
Yeah, and we had chances. We had chances in that game early on. We dominated that first 10-15.
That's what I mean. So like I think like momentum is going to be so important, and like I think getting an early goal will just get the whole crowd up, because then there's a chance. You know what I mean? There's like, and then they'll just keep pushing them on. Yes, we might get done on the other side, and that's where you're going to need like a perfect game, like we did against Barcelona. When we obviously came back against them. But I don't know, I just feel like these games are, people need to believe. And right now, I think a lot of people don't believe that a comeback is possible. I'd say under Klopp, and obviously the messaging that was coming out around that time was very different. The belief was probably there a lot more than it was at this moment. But football is funny. Do you know what I mean? If we do get an early goal, then like anything can happen. Do you know what I mean? PSG, I think were really good last year. I think mentally they were obviously a lot more locked in, because they obviously wanted to get their first European Cup. Maybe they're having a little bit of what's the word? Like complacency. Thank you. If they concede, do you know what I mean? So play on that, use the crowd, because they haven't had a lot to shout about this season. And if we do get up for it, I think then there is an opportunity to go through. But what we'll do is we have 20-25 minutes. Man United are playing. We want to see them get pumped. But we'll do lineups, okay? So give us your lineups. So maybe we'll start defense, and then we'll move into midfield.
I was going to say I think we'll all agree in defence, but I've just remembered that we won't because we're not agreeing on
It's
that.
the Robertson one. Yeah, I mean, obviously Mamadashvili's in goal. Frimpong at right back, I think that's unanimous, right?
Yeah, and then the centre backs are obvious too.
Centre backs are obvious as well. I'd play Kirkez. I think you're the same, Liam.
Yeah, 100%. I just think you need that intensity in the team. If you start Ngumoha, you start Robertson, but I wouldn't start either. I would bring both of them on, like I say.
Okay, but I would go Robertson. I think Jamie will agree. But Liam, that point that we need that intensity, I actually do agree with. But maybe we don't necessarily need it from a player like Kirkez. We probably need Robertson to manage that game in the first half. Would be my counter argument to that. Because if Kirkez is erratic, which he will be, and rightfully so, he'll get up. He probably feels Anfield the most in terms of just heart on his sleeve. But if he makes a bad challenge, gets a booking, or if he goes and does something stupid, we can see it, the game's over. Whereas I'd probably rather manage the game to half-time and then reassess at that point.
I don't think Kirkez has looked rash at times this season, more so at the start of the season. But I don't think, he's not contributed like any errors to goals or anything. I'm not sure I agree with that. But also, you talk about wanting to lift the crowd, to get the crowd excited. I don't think anyone's going to do that better than a Kirkez header on the halfway line. Or
he's going to smash into a tackle.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then Robertson's been here, done it so many times, quarterfinals, semi-finals and big games and been so important in them. So I don't know. Robertson did it against Messi.
It's difficult.
I'm leaning on the experience. Do you know what as well? It's because I obviously, I'm top heavy in terms of attacking output. So I'm thinking like, I don't want someone who's just like, at the back. I want, as in like, Max, you put it nail on the head. It's going to be about balance. I think Robertson gives us that a little bit more. And then we just let the forwards go and do what they have to do. Because I don't think Kirkez is unbelievable going forward. I think Robertson could easily pop up with like an unbelievable assist or do something in that instance. You know what I mean? So
I think Robertson's a better defender than Kirkez.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree there. But
He is. Come on.
Maybe not this way.
I think you're thinking of a prime version of Robertson. Like last season he was getting rinsed, not on the regular, but a lot of the time. I think Kirkez is definitely better 1v1 defending, 100%.
But boys, wouldn't you rather have that experience in the most important part of the match, which is you're going to assume if we're in it, would be towards the back end of it. I'd rather bring on Robertson, to manage a game and know what to do in the last 20 minutes. Yeah,
I'd rather be ahead, and then I'd rather be ahead. And if we need someone to come on and be a little bit of composure, I'm bringing on Joe Gomez at left back. I'm not bringing on Kirkez.
I'm not having Joe Gomez at left back in the exchange.
I go 5 at the back, Arnie Slot style.
What are the comments saying?
So some of them saying agree on Robbo. Robertson scored recently. There's a few questions about if Kirkez gets booked early, it's peak.
I don't think he gets booked too many times.
Marmadashvili is going to need to put in a performance and a half. If we concede at all, we are probably out of the tie. Yeah, 100%. If we concede, we're done.
If we concede first, especially, if imagine like we're saying all this, the crowd's going to be up first 10 and we concede like 5 minutes in. That's the tie over, isn't it?
Yeah. Kirkez, what you want last 20 minutes is energy. I think Kirkez should start and Robbo off the bench. It is 50-50 to be fair.
Yeah. What about midfield though? Going into midfield.
Yeah, midfield. I think Szoboszlai absolutely and Wirtz. I think has to start, but the other one's kind of up in the air.
I think Jones. I think if he's fit, Jones. If not, Gravenberch.
Yeah, no, I think Gravenberch should start anyway. To be honest, I think the debate is Jones or McAllister. I think one of them definitely starts the game.
I wouldn't start McAllister. I can't watch another McAllister display.
No, but I actually would start if Jones isn't fit. I actually would start McAllister next to Gravenberch, and I would shorten those distances. I would like to see more of a narrow system. I want to see like that diamond system that we've been seeing this season, or even the 4-2-2-2. I think those systems are very interchangeable. It's just whether it's Szoboszlai pushing a bit higher or being deeper. That's the difference between the diamond and a 4-3-2-2. But go on.
Do you think with obviously we're playing 2 in midfield, Wirtz is in front, is that the risk? Is that the one that has to come off? Because obviously we're kind of I think what we've seen this season is Wirtz he's good when he gets space, but when he's asked to maybe do some of the defending, which this Liverpool midfield has kind of had the foundations on of being like a hard work midfield, he struggles a little bit with being able to be creative and do that. Yeah. So It's
you
kind
don't
of
want to overwork him, definitely not. But I think this is one of those games where you're going to have to ask him to defend. That's why I wouldn't start Rio. I would have that two of Wirtz and Szoboszlai ahead of McAllister and Gravenberch. Just short, like I said in the first leg, shorten the distances, not make them even bigger for McAllister and Gravenberch to cover.
I would just go with Jones, Szoboszlai, and Wirtz as like the 10 for me. I don't think mess about it. I think if Jones is fit, if not, I'd go Gravenberch. I wouldn't push Szoboszlai more forward. I wouldn't mess about. I wouldn't put Wirtz out on the wing or anything. I'd just the three of them in midfield for me.
That's the thing. We have to impose ourselves onto them. We have to give them something to actually be worried about because we literally gave them nothing last week. They probably sat there thinking, "Can these lot even attack?"
Prepared all week.
Yeah, like I know it's probably a bit of a risk to play a 4-3-3, with Wirtz as part of that midfield three, but that's what I do. Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and then I'd have Rio on the left, Salah on the right, Ekitike through the middle. It is a risk, but as Mickey said in the chat here, they're fullbacks. They basically go anywhere, so it could potentially leave space for our wingers.
Yeah. What on Wirtz there? What did you think of his performance against Fulham? Obviously, I think a lot of the attackers weren't good against PSG, but do you know what? Do you know what's interesting with Wirtz? I think a lot of fans are struggling they're trying to see a player that we're not used to seeing as a midfielder, like that kind of really technically gifted player. I think Coutinho was a lot more. I think Wirtz is like that kind of player who's just like really good at doing what he needs to do when he gets the ball. And I think when he's obviously not doing those things, he's not as aesthetically pleasing as some players gone before him, like the Coutinho, for example. So it doesn't look as like natural, if that makes sense. But I thought like some of the touches that he had against Fulham were really good. But then I seen some of the commentary was that like he's not doing enough. Then like after the game, do you know what I mean? I think it comes with like the price tag. Say Coutinho when he came, he didn't have the price tag. So like the expectation is just there with him. But how did you think he played against Fulham?
Well, like
I thought
for me,
to be honest, I think it's probably a lot of people are just profiling him wrong, and I probably did it at the start of the season as well because I hadn't watched too much of Leverkusen. I think everyone expects this number 10 that's going to contribute 20 goals, 15 goals, 15 assists in a season. I feel like from what I'm seeing of him so far,
he was like that in Leverkusen. Like,
and you're not wrong to expect that.
Yeah.
Nah, I agree with Max there.
With the price tag, like you are expecting him. I'm waiting for that punch to come. I get we might have misprofiled him. Like people say he might be like a David Silva type, where he never contributed with tons of goals and assists. But I don't know. He done it for Leverkusen, didn't he? He provided a lot of goals and assists.
I don't know about you, right?
He is someone who can provide the goals and assists, but I just mean in terms of his overall play. I think he just is he's probably more of a connector, just connecting that midfield and attack. You saw with both goals. You saw both goals. He picks up the ball quite deep and plays Rio in. He's just someone to link everything together. I think. I don't think and we've seen his shooting isn't particularly good. The Bundesliga keepers must have one arm, 4 fingers. I don't know because his shot power is poor. I don't think he works shots for himself particularly well. He was doing that. Like I said, that's probably why I did misprofile him at the start of the season because from those comps, again, it is comps. I didn't watch Leverkusen. From those comps, it looks like he is working shots for himself really well and things like that, but he just doesn't seem to be doing that in England. But I did think he had a good game against Fulham.
I don't know about you, right, but this is something that I've just felt for the last couple of weeks with him, before his injury and after. But I genuinely think he's being misused and been very unlucky in terms of who he's had to play directly behind as well, or had to play, across. Like you look at the goal Isak scored against Spurs, right? That is like Florian Wirtz at his best, isn't it? Like he's unlocked that whole Spurs defense, sets Isak in because he's had someone who can make that run. I feel like he hasn't had that with Ekitike all this season. At times, obviously he has, but you look at Wirtz against Newcastle, he's worked the whole chance himself. I do think some of the things there's a little bit harsh. I do think we expect more from for the price tag, but you look at Isak coming on the pitch and Wirtz is coming off the pitch. It just doesn't help Isak and it doesn't help Ekitike, or it doesn't help Wirtz. So I don't know. Like especially against PSG, I would look to have the two of them on the pitch at the same time. I think you have your best creative player and you have your clinical number 9.
Yeah, I think Wirtz will definitely play the full game against PSG. I think it's just been a case of managing his minutes recently, and we're having to obviously get Isak back up to. It's just been like unfortunate timing, isn't it? Like they're both, Isak's coming on because we need to get him up to speed. We need to keep Wirtz for the next game, so he's been taken off. But it is the price tag the main thing that people. Obviously 400 million. You want to see him taking control of these games.
It's not our money though.
Working. Say again.
It's not our money though. I know. I'm not saying you are, but a lot of people pin that way too much. The price tag. Again, in football, it's always going to be spoken about, but some of our fans do need to like relax a little bit on the price tag thing because it's not our money ultimately.
Go Max.
He needs to develop that punch as a player. Even when he's playing well and he's a joy to watch. Do you ever really think, okay, he's going to do something insane and just unlock a team completely? Like, he can do that, of course, but he needs to do it much more often for me. And I love him. I think he's great, but
that's what I mean about him being a connector. Like, people are unhappy that we paid £100 million just for someone to connect things together. You want to see that, you know what I mean? You want to.
But he can develop that.
Yeah, 100%. He's still so young, and I think that obviously contributes to the price tag too. Like that,
do you know
signed him for 6 years.
You know what I think? You know what I think he's missing, and it's not. I think a lot of people say like you need like a physicality to play in the Premier League. I don't think it is that, because I think we've seen technically gifted players come to the Premier League and not struggle. So I think what he needs like that little bit of bite. Like, I know how good I am. I know what I can do. I know that I can deliver. And you look at like some of the good players, like we talked about David Silva there, how good he was on the ball, but he thought a little bit further ahead. Kevin De Bruyne, one of the best Premier League players of all time, he wasn't someone that was like really aggressive getting into fights. You look at even Shirky now, like he's come in and he has a little bit more arrogance about him that I don't think Wirtz has. I think Wirtz is like, he's almost afraid to make a mistake. I think that's sometimes the way he plays. You see some of the chances that he takes where maybe he doesn't hit it as hard as he should, or he plays a pass rather than like take the opportunity himself. Just be like, this is my ball. This is my goal. This is what I'm going to deliver for Liverpool.
He's the best player in our team.
Yeah, like in terms of quality, but that's what I mean. I think he's just playing a little bit within himself. That's when I look at him, I feel like you're just at that precipice of, we see the quality that you have, but like if you want to really go on and like be the player that we all know you can become, like go and show it. Go and show that you're the man, and then he will deliver.
It can be very disheartening, especially when you look at Shirky yesterday, and I think Mickey said it there in the chat, like for 34 million, and you're looking at what Shirky's doing for City, knowing that we had those conversations. I do think there's an important factor to that. Like, I don't know if you've seen the goal that Gay scores yesterday, but Shirky fizzing the ball in with so much like just arrogance about him, like, now get this done, no look pass straight into Gahey. It's like he just dictates everything for City going forward. It's so important, and it looks like he's just enjoying football, whereas Wirtz looks like if he loses the ball, he's probably going to have a cry after. Yeah, exactly.
I genuinely don't think Turkey is that much more talented than Wirtz, but the difference
I agree.
The difference is Turkey knows 100% I'm a top player. He literally decided to turn up yesterday and just get 2 assists and win them the game. Simple as you like. We need that from Wirtz more.
I think it's the case of what we were saying with Gabriel and Van Dijk the other week, though. I think if you put Wirtz in that City team, his confidence is obviously much better. He's playing in a struggling Liverpool side. I'm not so sure we'd be seeing Shirky do kick-ups on the halfway line while we're 3-0 down to Forest and things like that. You know what I mean?
Imagine Liverpool Twitter after.
Slot would probably allow it because he's got no standards at all. Slot would probably clap him off. But yeah, I think you definitely just he needs the right environment, and you don't want to talk about him like United fans were banging on about Pogba, for example. We don't need to unlock him. I think he is having good games, even in the games that we've been losing, PSG and City. He has been, obviously it wasn't hard, but he was our best player on the pitch. He just needs players around him, and I think when you saw against Fulham, when Salah was at his best, Rio Ngumoha was on the left, he's got players around him ahead of the ball, runners ahead of the ball, which is exactly what he needs. He performs better.
Yeah, Germany as
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you've seen he plays really well for Germany. We just need to see it in Liverpool, right? Yeah. Drop a like, subscribe. We're gonna get into the forwards now. Let us know what your forward lineup is, lads. I'll let you go first. Let you pick your forward lineup, and then I'll go last.
You're too excited to do this.
Yeah, mine's a bit different. Just I can't wait to slander Satin on him.
I think I might walk off this stream, you know.
Leaves the Kop Four for good.
I think I've already said mine. I'd have Rio on the left. I'd have Salah on the right, and Ekitike through the middle.
Yeah, that's what I would go with.
Don't worry about off
Potentially
the
the only
ball, though,
changes.
Off the ball.
Off the ball, yeah. With like, obviously, I know you said you want to think about what, and we want to impose the game on them, but I just think I do think that's too much too early. Like we're talking about balance. I don't think that Salah's not tracking Nuno Mendes.
Yeah, I guess Wirtz as well.
Ngumoha's not. That probably doesn't have the not the experience, but just I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but he's probably not going to follow Hakimi all the way to the left wing and things like that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
And Ekitike is a particularly poor presser. That's why I would start just with a bit more of a compact team, but still obviously take the games to them still, but just with a few more playing a bit more safe at the start.
Are you playing that box midfield then?
Box midfield or diamond. Like I said, that only depends whether Szoboszlai is a bit further ahead or not. Really, you've still got McAllister on the left side of it, Gravenberch a bit deeper. Wirtz will obviously drift out to the left naturally, even if he is at the top of a diamond. So I think the box and the diamond is pretty much the same thing. I would have, obviously, Ekitike starts left striker because he's had a full rest. And then I would have Salah as the right striker.
Interesting.
Damien
I have two. I would start Rio because I think he's the difference maker. I think he helps this Liverpool team an awful lot in terms of just running in behind. Even if he's not creating a lot of himself, he still causes that threat and he makes people think. So I would start him. I would start Alexander Isak as striker from the get-go. And then I would start Hugo Ekitike on the right. So
would you not go Ekitike left and Ngumoha right?
Right, so I would go Hugo Ekitike on the right. But if he doesn't want to start Rio, which I don't think he will, I'd start Ekitike on the left and I'd start Salah on the right and then I'd go Isak up front.
Would you not just play Rio on the right and Ekitike on the left?
Yeah, well, you could do that as well. Either or, whatever way you want to do it. But that's what I would go with. Just because I think... I don't know. I think... right, Salah doesn't press. Ekitike doesn't press. No. But he'll still be expected to work off the ball. Salah won't work off the ball. Salah, he just won't. And I think if we...
I don't think Ekitike will.
No, I don't think he'll work as I'm not saying he's gonna be like running around and pressing because he's not that type of player. We've seen that this season. But I think that Ekitike, Isak, and Rio gives us the best opportunity to take the game to PSG. I think that front three in my mind gives me more threat and more optimism than it does with Salah in the team right now. I know he played well against Fulham, but I think he's coming up against Nuno Mendes, who, like, realistically is going to lock him up. I mean, if he has to do a job, he will.
That's why I play him a bit more central. Play him off of Pacho or something. I think he could. Pacho's quite rash. Yeah, I don't think he's shown it last week against us because we barely got into their half. But, you know, a South American 20-year-old centre-back or whatever he is, get Salah off the shoulder centrally, have Frimpong holding that width on the right. Szoboszlai getting out there as well. I like the idea of that more narrow system. And I think Brian agrees that definitely gets the best out of Salah playing more central.
No, I think Liam's lineup's the best, to be fair.
Oh, nice one, lads. I thought you all disagreed with me at the start. I thought I was ready.
No. To be fair, you've actually, of what you've said, even just that little segment there, I genuinely, that's probably convinced me more so to change into that formation. And yeah, I probably would go Ekitike, Salah as the
too conservative.
That was. I don't think it is. I think we well, fucking mad stutter there. We beat Galatasaray 4-0. 4-0 with that same system. That's going to be, someone's going to pin that. I don't know what just happened.
Don't you boys think though, like the way Nuno and Hakimi play, like obviously you need to track them and they're so dangerous, but they just go everywhere. Like maybe you could hit them on transition. If you leave Salah cheating like he did a lot of last season, if you get him maybe 1v1 with Pacho down that side and Nuno's out of the game, you could be in business.
But I don't think Salah can go by a man. Like he can't. He has not gone by a man this season. No, well, like if it's Ekitike and Salah or Isak or Salah in those positions, I think Isak and Ekitike or Rio for instance, they will go by a man. I don't think Salah will. He'll need a runner. He'll need someone off him to create space, and then maybe a 1-2. Like we talked about this last stream, and that's how he'll get his goal. He's not going to get his goal by going by someone and then scoring. Like, he just won't.
That's why I'd obviously play Frimpong and obviously down that side with him.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's the same.
But say if you're talking about in transition, do you know what I mean? Where he's like isolated, he's going to have to do something one-on-one. Do you know what I mean? It's not like where we're in build-up, which I think Salah definitely, in build-up, he'll definitely be involved. But if you're trying to maybe hit PSG in transition, I think Ekitike, Isak and Rio, those three are the ones that are going to be unbelievable in 1v1 situations rather than Salah.
Yeah, it's a good argument. It's very interesting, I must say. We've got all got different opinions on it. Really.
What do you think about Isak? Do you think it's like, I know it's obviously a risk, or not a risk, but like it's just like it is early to start him. But do you think that's what I was saying, kind of alluding at the start? If we want to maybe build a little bit of momentum and he gets an opportunity, he's probably the most likely one to take it.
1-0 leads.
Oh yeah,
is it? Yeah.
Told you.
That's what's just been said in the chat. Come on, the Leeds.
That is good. So what? We're only, if that result stays like that, we're only three points off Leeds. Leeds 3 points off United.
Take that.
With the way we're playing, 3 points off Leeds.
Leeds are probably catching up to you. Look at the league.
I was looking actually. It's so close between. I don't know if you've seen the Premier League table. Like there's about like all the way down to 12th. It feels like can still get Europe. Touching on that point that Max made, by the way, about like there could potentially be space behind Nuno Mendes. Thinking about it now, that's exactly how Chelsea smashed them in the Club World Cup final. They just kept knocking balls to João Pedro in that channel. Palmer scores, 2 goals in the first half from situations like that. So maybe it looks at something like that. I think,
but that's where you get Frimpong though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The outball down that side would be Frimpong, I think, making those runs from deep. I think Wirtz is going to have, like we say, Wirtz is going to have to impose himself on the game and really just unlock everyone else on the pitch.
With Isak though, when you keep him tucked as like a little wild card, that's why I think it would be a lot for him to start, because he's definitely not going to play at 90, so you're going to have to bring him off probably around 60.
Yeah, and it's the same with Rio. Rio's not going to play 90 either. True. So if you're taking off Rio and Isak, and then Ekitike's knackered by the 90th minute, who you bring on Salah and Gakpo?
Yeah, I assume so.
It depends on. Do you know what? The difference is that like our mentality towards the game. So like you're thinking more about like staying in it and then getting to the end, whereas I'm thinking about like going heavy from the start. Yeah, so that's why like our team lineups are slightly different. But I suppose we're just coming up over the hour. United are obviously going to get pumped tonight. Score predictions, lads. I know we got a little bit giddy last week away from home, but we're at Anfield this time. So how are we feeling? Score predictions. What are we thinking? Score predictions in the chat as well, lads. Let us know your thoughts. What are you thinking for the game tomorrow night?
I think you've got to be positive, don't you? Going into it, you have to hope that we can at least win the game, whether that's us going through or not. You know what? I was looking at PSG's results actually from their last year or so. I actually forgot they lost the second leg at Villa Park last season. Villa should have. Yeah, Villa should have knocked them out. Like they smashed them in that game. So they're not an unbeatable side. Obviously, they've had that week rest, haven't they? And a week to prepare as well, which is probably quite key. But I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna say a 2-0 win. I don't know what happens beyond that, but I'm gonna say.
Oh, he's sitting on the fence.
No, that's not sitting on the fence. We win 2-0. I reckon. I hope we can take them.
We win 2-0 and go out.
Yeah. I hope we can take them to penalties and get some revenge. One thing actually. I don't know if you remember last year, but they had a lad with a megaphone in the away end. And we took pens at their end, and he was just screaming while we were taking pens. They better ban that megaphone for the return.
We don't have Darwin Núñez taking penalties now, so we're all right.
If it does go to pens, he better actually have people who can kick a ball on the pitch.
Who
would you go penalty takers? So say you're let's just say you have the players, your ideal penalty takers. Who would your top 5 be?
Salah.
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 I don't even know about Salah.
Salah's in the 5, obviously. Salah,
No.
McAllister. Van Dijk.
Salah's not even in my starting lineup, so he's not in my 5 penalty.
McAllister, Van Dijk, and
Isak.
Yeah, Isak.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Van Dijk isn't bad at a penalty too. He's not. He's in
my 5.
Mamardashvili in goal saving them. He's an imposing goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah, they don't have Donnarumma this year. This year.
Mate, we can take them. One thing we have to do actually. I don't know if you lot thought about the first leg last week. Their keeper looks so shaky. We just didn't test him at all.
Terrible.
Yeah,
we just
couldn't get out of our own half.
Yeah,
balls on his head.
Boys, anything can happen at Anfield. That's what we need to remember. And
come on,
you think about the Dortmund game way back. I think we needed 3 goals from the 70th minute onwards. I don't know. the players just need to really perform though, in terms of like probably all of them need to drop like 9, probably 10 out of 10s, and it needs to be, Liam said, the best performance of the Slot era. I'm gonna go. I've bigged it up, but I think we're gonna give it a good go. I think we're gonna give it a good go, and we're gonna be right in the game. But I do think the quality, they'll come out on top eventually. I think it'll be 2-1 Liverpool.
Boo.
No, we win the game. We win the game.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, cool.
But we go out.
All right.
Even if
Brian.
we win 2-1 though, I think that we could take positives into the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. I don't want a 2-1 loss
No,
here.
wait,
Or 2-1 win and get knocked out.
we're coming through and we're going to beat Bayern as well while we're at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're winning the Champions League. What they say? So every time Slot needed a big win to keep his job, he gets it. That means winning the Champions League. Go on, Brian.
Let me cook. Let me cook.
Salah fan fiction.
I was just taking notes here. There's a Brian cooking.
I'm actually not going to paint the whole picture. I'm going to try to be realistic, and I reckon if these boys play as a team, I'm going to build on what Max was saying, but if these boys just die for the badge, just die for the cause, get behind it, like Szoboszlai said, he's prepared to give it every single inch that he's got. I don't see a world where Anfield doesn't lift the players that extra 10% and get us over the line. And I think we win 3-0 genuinely. I whether that's 2-0 and we go into extra time and maybe we nick a goal, or maybe it is. I think 3-0 win. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I love you, Max. I just can't. I think we have to just believe we can fully go through. And they are quality PSG, and you're right, and you're probably more realistic, but I'd rather my heart take over here than my head. And I think 3-0. Let's just say it. We're going to win the Champions League.
I did love that. I did love what Szoboszlai said, by the way. I thought that was fucking wicked. That's what
we need to hear.
Yeah.
That's what we need, lads.
Henderson after the Barcelona game, and Milner, they literally gave everything, man. We need to replicate that if we have any chance.
Yeah.
100%. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, believe you can, and you're halfway there. And I'm predicting we have a big performance from this team tomorrow. We have not seen it enough this season. We absolutely have not. They have been abysmal for the most part. But I think every season you do get a special performance, and I'm hoping tomorrow night is that. I'm predicting Liverpool win the game 2-0, and they go through in extra time. They score and go through in extra time. That's what I'm going. So 3-2 on aggregate, and I'll be there screaming my head off when we go.
Could be one of the greatest.
We'll be here on Thursday talking about a really good win.
Everyone wrote us off against one of the best Milan teams of all time. Jimmy Traore against Shevchenko as the Ballon d'Or winner. And then we have, who else did we have? We have obviously Messi comes to Anfield. Tougher things have happened. This PSG team are not unbelievable. So we can do it. We absolutely can. 100%. Believe.
They're class.
We can do it, boys. Come on. I do believe. I'm the only one who's actually.
We're not going to do it.
I know. I'm the only one who said that, but I don't know. Last week I was right, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you were. Hopefully it's a big win. We can come in on Thursday and be positive. Talk about a massive win ahead of the derby. Never give up.
There you go. I might actually get one of those tops and wear it to Anfield, you know. That'd be good content, to be fair. Right. But that is it. Today's show. We an hour and 10 minutes. Folks, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're here every Monday and Thursday at 7 o'clock. As I said, the biggest community channel on YouTube. The biggest Liverpool community channel on YouTube. That's what we want to get to. So the support is really, really appreciated. Drop a like, subscribe. We'll have a few clips coming out as well. And hopefully we will be celebrating a big result tomorrow. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thank you very much.
Up the Reds.
Come on, you red men.